Are we going? Is it going? Let me get my thing on here.
Wait, Wayne's rusty.
I am.
Yeah,
It's been 2 days.
because he's trying to fill us his mind.
He's trying to bill us.
It's time for Red Salad Review with your hosts, Wayne New, Greg Narrow, and Lou Maddox.
Welcome to Rat Salad Review. Today, unfortunately, is not a happy show, but yesterday, Ozzy Osbourne, I'm wearing his hat today. Yesterday, I was wearing his t-shirt. He passed away, unfortunately, and it was really shitty news. I've been a fan of Ozzy for the past 40 years at least. He's been part of my musical life for 40 years, and hearing that he's gone, it's just strange. All the musicians that I like and admire have passed and gone, but Ozzy hits really hard, because it
I
just
agree.
feels like you're always, every day is always some kind of Ozzy story, or some kind of music thing is related to Ozzy somehow or whatever. And there's always talk about Ozzy. We've done a ton of shows about Ozzy, Black Sabbath, and it's just always Ozzy every day, almost, doing podcasts. And it just sucks that he's gone. And yesterday was a really shitty day.
Yeah, that or Kiss.
That or Kiss. Yes, it's
Yeah.
either Ozzy or Kiss. And it's funny, I've been seeing a lot of Gene Simmons interviews. I guess he's been on some talk shows or whatever last day or two, and he's been talking about Ozzy. I didn't really think he knew Ozzy that well, but he's sitting there talking about him, and he's like breaking up. He's like kind of crying about it, So I guess he had some kind of a connection with Ozzy.
Well, they kind of knew each other, and
Yeah, of
Sharon
course.
probably went to him for business advice, or he went to her. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I
But
mean, Kiss is a juggernaut when it comes to merchandising and what have you, aside from the music.
right.
And you know, Ozzy got into that. I mean, just last year they released a McFarlane action figure, another one. Um, so anyway,
Right. Yeah.
continuing, you were going
But
on.
yeah, just I was trying not to listen to any Ozzy songs yesterday because I just didn't really want to listen to it yet, But I forced myself to. I had to go out and I put it on in the car, just put a mix on or whatever, and just hearing the songs. And then I wasn't even like listening to a sad song, and it kind of got to me a little bit. I'm like, God damn it! And I still listened, but it's really sucked. Yesterday sucked. I'm a little better today.
And it does feel like surreal, like you're in the Twilight Zone or something.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Like, really, Ozzy's gone? No way.
You always thought of him as immortal, bro.
Right. Like he's
It's
gonna
like
just be here
I
forever.
know,
Yeah.
I know, but that's the way it is. Like, we're getting older, and we're watching our heroes kind of like.
Speak for yourself, Stan, about getting older. I refuse, Stan. I've been fighting it every step of the way. So,
Yeah.
um,
But yeah, I just
but
got home from, actually, what the funny story was, I went out. I was at the grocery store. I had stuff to do yesterday, and I was wearing an Ozzy shirt. This other guy is in the grocery store too. He had his Ozzy shirt on. He sees me. He goes, "Oh, cool shirt." And I thought, "Oh yeah, cool shirt or whatever." And I get home like 10, 15 minutes later, and then I saw. I think Stan said it first, but then I saw a Lou's message that Ozzy died, and I had to go check it on the
yeah,
internet.
Stan's the one I heard it from.
Yeah, and so Stan.
It was so bad, blabbermouth.net crashed.
Really.
But I couldn't access anything on Blabbermouth for like the entire day yesterday. The servers crashed.
Are you saying you didn't believe me, Lou? When I
Well, you
sent
are a
that
liar.
message out?
Didn't I say it before you did?
No, you said
No,
you
you
saw
were
it from
No,
Stan.
Stan is the one who told us.
Yeah.
No, you confirmed it, Lou, but Stan said it first. Actually, Stan confirmed it because he goes, "No, it's true." Because like Wayne, I go, "Oh," because there used to be I don't know if it exists anymore, but there used to be like a YouTube channel every day. It was sadly reported that Clint Eastwood, or you name a celebrity, they
Mhm.
told you they've died, and you find out it's bullshit.
Oh
And I
yeah,
thought it was one of those.
those
Yeah.
same baboons show up in my
Yeah, I
Facebook
don't see
feed, and
that
I'm just
anymore.
block.
Yeah. Well,
And
Well, I
good evening,
blocked. Yeah,
gentlemen.
I
How you
blocked
doing?
all of that.
hello.
What's
But,
up?
but
Somebody behind me?
no.
Oh, I said gentlemen. Oh, sorry. Good
but
evening, gentlemen and Nanny.
and Al, I know you can't be here too long because you got your other show, the Black Spinner show on YouTube here, coming on
What do you
around
mean you got
8:30.
another show? You just did it yesterday, Al. What are you
Nah,
doing?
yesterday was just an impromptu
Okay.
Ozzy show, but tonight is
Everybody had to get their Ozzy shit in yesterday.
yeah.
We waited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're a day late.
But since Al, you're not going to be here the whole show.
All 13 viewers, saw our show yesterday. So
That's all right. There's only
you know,
6 here right now. So
13, the magic number 13.
well. but
Um,
but how did you take this news yesterday when you heard this?
oh well, ironically, like I got done with work, and then like on my way home, I stopped at a thrift store because I was like, let me go see like maybe they got some good CDs or vinyl. I thrift store once in a
Oh, you
while,
have
and
to. You can't.
you get good fucking finds in some of these stores. So I'm in there, and yeah, I'm like looking through the CDs. I'm grabbing a couple. They had a lot of good Aerosmith in there, some that I didn't even have. So I was kind of grabbing them and whatever, and then all of a sudden, well, Manny was the one that texted me.
Mm,
He texted me. He's like, "Dude, Ozzy died." I'm like, "What?" Like it just doesn't register with you right away. It just kind of like, all
yeah.
right. So I go on social media, and then I just kind of start seeing it trickle in. Um, it completely took the wind out of my sails. I actually put the CDs back and I walked out. I didn't buy anything. I
Really?
just
That bad,
yeah,
huh?
I just fucking was like I got upset about it and I was like I can't, and I walked out. I mean, it hit me hard. It's a hard one for me, man, because I mean shit, man. I grew up on Ozzy. Sabbath Paranoid was the first album I ever heard. My older brother had the cassette, and I was probably like 10 years old when I heard it.
Mm,
Scared the shit out of me, but it would intrigue me as well.
mm,
When you're a
right.
kid, you get scared, but you kind of excites you at the same time. You
Right,
know what I
exactly.
mean? So, I mean, especially like the song. I remember the song that kind of scared me the most was well, Planet Caravan with his treated voice was kind of like eerie, but Electric Funeral was the one that hit me hard. I remember that one.
Mm.
That was the one that like, holy shit, as a 10-year-old kid, I'm hearing that, and I'm like, oh wow, it's kind of frightened me, but you know. So yeah, I took it hard. I went home. It's funny, and when I was leaving the thrift store, my wife and daughter called me, and Kayla was like, "Dad, did you hear the news?" And that's how much she knows that I love Ozzy and Sabbath and stuff. So,
Mm.
and I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I'm sorry" and all that. So I was kind of like, "That's cool." And I went home and she gave me a hug when I came home and stuff. She's kind of saw that I was bummed out. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
So. I
right.
mean, Neil Peart, Eddie Van Halen, and this one is the hardest hitting ones for me, I think. I
Okay.
think those are the three I shed a tear the most for. There's
Okay.
other ones I've been upset about too. I mean, I loved Chris Cornell when he died, and I was pretty upset. But
Yeah, that was
but
tough.
these three, especially Edward and Neil and Ozzy here, man, those are three guys like they were my heroes, like growing up.
Mm.
You know
Yep.
and especially Edward. Edward was like the one that he was like the one. I always thought he was like forever young and fucking immortal, and nothing could take him out, man. It's
Right.
and the same thing with Ozzy too. I always
Yeah, I
thought
mean,
Ozzy would just, we saw all the shit that he did. And just continued living. I mean, he could have,
right.
dude. In all reality, he should have been dead in his 40s. You know,
Right,
with
right.
all the shit he did, man. But
Oh
so we
yeah,
got bonus,
yeah,
we got
that's
bonus years out of him if you really think about it.
Yeah.
So that's
And,
how I took it.
if he didn't have that accident, that ATV accident, maybe, he probably
Yeah,
still would be here.
I think that was the beginning of the downfall, man.
Totally was, totally.
Yeah.
You know, the crazy
oh
thing is,
yeah.
I saw the Ozfest after the ATV accident, and I can't
Mhm.
believe I'm going to say this. That was the best I ever saw him.
Really.
Like that year, that Ozfest 2004, blown away.
Wasn't that Priest on that?
Yes, that was to
I
this
missed
day,
that one.
hands
I didn't
down, the
see that
best
one.
Ozfest I have ever experienced.
It
And
wasn't Sabbath though. It was Ozzy, right?
yes,
Okay.
and Ozzy was firing on all cylinders. I mean, he wasn't even pitchy that night. He was on point. with his vocals and his performance.
Yeah.
And he wanted to go crazier, but then his guy was like, no, get back. You know, it was kind of funny to watch. And my wife, who she was my girlfriend at the time, she was like, "Oh my God, Ozzy's so cute." I'm like, "Oh, wait till you hear War Pigs."
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say Ozzy was cute.
Well, I mean, because she didn't really know Ozzy from the music, she knew him
Yeah.
from the Osbournes.
Right. Oh, that's
You know,
true.
Sharon.
That's
so,
what's really crazy. What's really crazy? I was watching news coverage. Good Morning America, the Today Show, The View, or whatever the hell that's called,
Ugh.
CNN.
the spew,
Makes
as I
sense,
call it.
CNN, but I like CNN. You guys are just fucking
No, not
don't like
CNN, The
reality.
View. I don't like
Anyway,
The View.
back.
You can watch whatever you want,
I
but
don't know what that is.
The View, I call
I
it
don't
The
know what that
Spew.
is. I just know that it's Whoopi. I just know Whoopi Goldberg's on it. That's all I know.
That's why you watch it.
Um,
Yeah,
I've
I
never
liked her
seen
better as Guinan on Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yeah, I'm a nerd. So what?
Actually, she was pretty cool in Star Trek. I don't. Color Purple is good. The rest of the movie she can shove up her ass. Anyway, back to the
He was in Ghost.
thing.
She
Hey,
was
Ghost
good in
is
Ghost.
good.
Yes. Yeah, if you're gay. Anyway, back to
Hey!
I'm just amazed.
Come on,
I'm just amazed.
come on, when
how-
Swayze and Demi Moore are molding the thing together, come on, man.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Clay.
That's chicks. What guy's ever done that?
Clay
in real
is
life?
gay.
All
Is that
right,
what you're saying?
all right, Al, you and Wayne and Lou, who are currently still married, well, hopefully for life. Have you guys ever done that with your wife behind her? Like, I rest my case.
What I
Fantasy.
do with my wife behind closed doors is her business. Thank you.
It wasn't
my point
Clay.
is that
But go ahead.
She doesn't. She
Jesus
doesn't wish to
Christ.
disclose this information. So,
God damn it, Ozzy died. Keep going.
But
all
the
right,
fact
back to Ozzy. Come
No,
on.
the fact is that here's this guy that when I was a kid, you had protesters, you had people telling you it was evil.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath was barely played on the radio, and now, literally, the mainstream media, as vanilla as it gets, are all have news stories and talking about Ozzy and his impact on music. I remember when heavy metal was a dirty word. Now he's the pioneer of heavy metal. It's just amazing. What's that Batman saying? If you live long enough, the hero becomes the villain, or is it the other way around?
You either
whatever.
die.
Who cares?
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to become the villain.
Manny,
That was not in Ghost, Lou. That was not
Manny's
in
clearly
Ghost, Lou.
becoming the villain.
As they should be. Anyway, does that surprise any of you guys that he's become such a mainstream name that people that
No.
didn't care about this music are talking about him?
No, that doesn't surprise me at all. And I think when he did that TV show, that helped him too, and helped show people he's more than just this, big scary guy. That's a Satan worshiper. Apparently, So I think that opened up a lot of eyes to it. I mean, for me, it kind of killed his mystique, a little bit.
It did.
But
It did.
It was still an entertaining show. There was still a lot of stuff on it. It was interesting to see.
In a way, I mean,
it's
I guess
funny.
it kept. I guess you can look at it two ways. It kept him relevant,
Right.
I guess, but the hardcore, fans and stuff I remember people hating it too, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't like it, but after a while, I was just
I
like,
didn't
all right,
really
it's
watch it either, to
happening.
be honest with you, man. I just saw a couple episodes. I'm like, it's kind of not for me.
Right.
Yeah.
But-
I'd rather just listen to the music.
Yeah, I still watch it. I mean, like it's Ozzy,
Yeah.
it's on. I might as well just check it out and see. So
Well, my daughter gave me the first season. I don't know how many years that thing was on the
3.
air when it was new. 3. I only saw the first season, and it's my oldest daughter, and she thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
Mhm.
I mean, my oldest daughter could care less about Black Sabbath or Ozzy. It's just not her thing, But she really loved that show. It had nothing to do with the music. She just thought it was funny, So
Every
It's
once in
kind
a
of
blue,
weird that.
every once in a blue moon, though, on that show, you get like a glimpse of kind of a musical thing, him working on music or,
Mm.
something like that. That kind of was interesting to me. But other than that, it kind of just showed him in like a kind of a clown light. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Which is how his family pretty much
Well,
saw him
here's
anyway. We only saw the Prince of
yeah.
Darkness.
Well,
but
we saw the image.
those reality shows are edited to make,
Oh, of
do
course.
certain
Yeah.
scenarios and make you look a certain way and all that bullshit. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
I
I
was
worked
just
on a reality show. You don't need to remind me.
which ones you work on?
The one that never made it to air.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Hey, how about the other thing that surprised me is it seems like because the solo career, I believe, outsold Black Sabbath. I'm talking about in total, the whole,
Mm.
Um, and it's surprising me too that every news report calls them Black Sabbath vocalist instead of just solo artist or Ozzy Osbourne. Maybe because he closed out his career with Black
Probably,
Sabbath,
yeah, yeah.
or
I
it
would
could
say
be
so.
because Black Sabbath was so groundbreaking that that's why they keep. I mean,
Mm.
it's cool, but that kind of like I just before I came on, I was watching the Today Show or whatever. Good Morning, I don't know which it was, but the
Or The
one
View or CNN.
when you mentioned they had Gene Simmons on it, whatever it was, but all of them kept calling him Black Sabbath singer.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so fucking hell, I passed out. I didn't read the rest. Wayne, there's a message in there from Greg.
Oh, I'll check it out. Stan, you're the one that broke the news to most of us. So how was your day yesterday after breaking that news?
Yeah, after ruining our
Um,
day, Stan, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks a lot, you jerk.
Yeah.
the, look, I opened up Instagram and that's the first thing I saw, and I couldn't believe it. And that's when I told you guys, and Lou was like, what? And then I just like posted that screenshot, from where I got the news from, and work hasn't been the same, bro. Like I just wasn't focused. You know what I mean? It was weird. It was like all I kept doing was reading up on Ozzy because I'm thinking like I can't believe this is actually happening.
Mm.
But I think like the other time like it had this effect on me was when Dio died. So
Yeah,
you
that
got
was a big one too, man.
so Dio, Ozzy, Dio Cornell, and Ozzy. It's like, but I'm kind of like it's like Al said. Like he probably like if he didn't die when he was in his 40s, like I'm thinking like this guy's gonna live forever, considering all the crazy shit he's done. You know what I mean? But
Should have been Keith Richards and Ozzy Osbourne, the last two people on Earth. That's how it should have been.
yeah, but it's just old things. Considering like the fact that he had such like a crazy wild life, that the fact that he made it to I guess what is like 75, like the
76.
life expectancy.
Yeah.
I'll say that's a win, I guess. I mean it in a very weird way, but
No, it
but
is. It is. I'll get agree.
In the condition he was in, yeah.
Yeah,
but yeah,
the guy lived the lives of 1,000 men probably.
of
You know
course,
what I mean?
yeah. It
So
still feels it still feels weird. It's like like you don't even know the guy, but you feel like a part of you just fucking
Hmm.
I think
died.
Because that music has served the soundtrack not to just our youth, our entire life.
Yeah.
Because unlike other music fans, we're not nostalgic for Paranoid or whatever first album because we never stopped listening to it. We don't listen to it every day, maybe, but we've never stopped listening to music. So to us, it's not nostalgia. We're not looking back going, oh, wow, I remember when Susie Cream Cheese gave me a hand job to that tape. No, because we still listen to it. We're still listening to it. That's
the
why.
whole thing that was shocking to me is not it's not I mean, this was to be expected. It was going to happen. I mean, in the state that he was in, but the fact that it happened like 2 weeks, a little bit over 2 weeks after he
Right,
did that show,
right.
was like the
Isn't that
most.
poetic? Isn't that
Yeah,
like
it's just
I mean
like
it's
how do you
crazy.
and that's like the. I mean, if you're gonna go out, that's the fucking way to go out, man. You know, he came full circle with the original. I just not, and we were talking about this on the show yesterday, Manny. How many bands can say that they went out on the fucking original lineup, dude? You can't name any more others. I mean,
All I can name is Aerosmith,
Aerosmith
and
could be the only other one,
yeah,
really.
but Al, I forgot one thing about Aerosmith. When they went on tour, or they were going to tour, they weren't going to bring Joey Kramer. They brought some other guy because they thought,
This is true.
Joey,
Yeah, Joey Kramer wasn't in the band,
which
but
I
he's still
forgot
alive,
about
though,
till,
so it
yeah, he's
could be
still
done.
alive. It could be, but they're all jerks to him. But
I mean,
Yeah.
the
but
guy
yeah,
wanted to die on stage. You know what I mean? So like, I think he was probably disappointed that he didn't die on stage.
And then
Uh,
I just heard like on that last weekend, he was doing like some sort of like he was at some event where he's signing stuff for. He was doing like meeting people, signing things. That's what. Yeah, he was just literally a week ago, like last weekend
Oh,
in England. Like he was doing like some signings and at an event, some fan event or some shit like that.
yeah. Wow.
So it's like
It
fucking
just
crazy to
happened.
think about, dude.
Yeah, it's just because you expect usually, Ozzy rushed to the hospital. You didn't get none of that. We just got always gone.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
why? Like, what the hell
Well,
was
it was
happening?
said they said too that he didn't take his medication like a week before the show. He wanted his mind completely clear,
Yeah, I saw that.
and because the medicine, I guess, clouds you or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe you know, maybe he was on medication for a long time and going off it may have shocked him too. You know,
Mm,
never know. Maybe a heroin addict, when you suddenly stop doing heroin, you get sick. You know
right,
what I mean? So. I mean, maybe that had something to do with it. Who knows? You know?
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't like we knew he had Parkinson's, but it wasn't like Eddie Van Halen. We were expecting Eddie Van Halen to pass away because we
Cancer
knew he had
again, you
cancer.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't know Neil Peart was sick, but
Now
we
they
knew
kept that
Eddie.
under wraps, man. That was like,
Yeah, yeah. But Ozzy, yeah, that's incredible. I mean, not only it is poetic, not only to go full circle with the original guys, the fact they brought Bill Ward back, which I think Iommi is always hesitant to bring Bill Ward back because he doesn't think Bill Ward can cut it. Whether that's fair or not, I don't know. I don't know. But that's always been my impression. It's Iommi who goes, no, no, he can't do it. But not only that, they did it in Birmingham, where they sort of grew up not too far from there. After all these years, because those guys fought like cats and dogs over money and rights, that they were able to come together as friends and finally put all that aside. Granted, they're in their 70s, they're probably like, none of this is important. We can't take it with us. But
Mm,
like you said, it's poetic and it's full circle and also cool that they live long enough. They go from critical disdain to critical acclaim.
right.
It's nice that they live that long because a lot of the guys that we love, Bon Scott didn't get that. Now he's critically loved, but when he was alive, they shit on him.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's nice to see that the original four guys got to close that chapter together. Like you said, Al, I agree.
What about you, Lou? How was your day yesterday after hearing this?
Uh, well, it was rather difficult knowing that I was going to see the Ghost concert at Madison Square Garden last night with my niece and our cousin Mariah, who's working on the animated film for the next Severed Angel album.
Yeah, did he do
Um,
anything for Ozzy at that show?
yes, yes. Actually, right before they played "The Future Is a Foreign Land," Tobias was like, "Well, what a day today is!" But today we're going to dedicate our performance here in beautiful New York City to the memory, the music, and the laughter of the Prince of Darkness himself, Ozzy Osbourne. For all the darkness in his music, he definitely shone a bright light for all of us, and we're dedicating this one for him tonight. And the entire arena was just like screaming and applauding, and we were all yelling, Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy. And it was really cool that Tobias did that. I mean, um, I think he's a class act, and um, I have a lot of respect for him. I mean, I knew he would. I mean, he just played
He
back
just
back to the beginning.
right.
And as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if he was pitchy and if Bark of the Moon wasn't played in his key. I love this performance.
Mm-hmm.
Live he could pull it off, and him not being constrained with the makeup anymore, definitely a better singer now than he was before. Like he just accentuates better. So, being there at the Ghost concert last night, singing along with every song and just having a good time. I'm like, you know what? I feel like this is what Ozzy would want us to do. Just let's go crazy, as he would say. And um, you know, I haven't been able to listen to any Black Sabbath in the last couple of days. Um, I tried. I was listening to "Waiting for Darkness" because that's my favorite Ozzy song, and again, knowing that Jake got his flowers at back at the beginning, um, knowing I can listen to that song now with a clear conscience, knowing that they made up after he also posted that text message that Ozzy really wanted to reconcile in person with him. I thought that was beautiful. Um,
Absolutely.
but then the moment I
Yeah.
heard "Mom, I'm coming home," I fucking lost it. I was like, I can't. I had to fucking shut my radio off. Driving home, I was like, shit, man, this hits so much harder now.
Yeah.
God damn it. I didn't want to get choked up on Rat Style Review, but it really, especially, you know, if there's someone you care about, if you have important family or friends, and you think about going home to them, that's that's the hardest song to listen to now,
It really
Oh,
is.
it is. That's a. It was that one, and I heard
Road to,
changes, and that
oh,
kind
okay.
of hit me. That one. Um, and and on Diary tonight. I don't know why that song. The way he sings on that so melodically and just like a ballad, and
Yeah.
I don't know, that hit me hard too. That one, man.
Mhm.
Well, I didn't listen to any Ozzy or Black Sabbath on purpose. I posted "Mama, I'm Coming Home" because I thought lyrically, even though it's not about what happened,
Right.
it fit. That
Yeah,
what
he's
what
going home.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Um, I have to mention my hero because I do that every show. So Alice last night,
he
I guess
posted a
he found
tribute,
it.
right?
Yeah, he
Yeah, he
did.
found out backstage. He didn't know. So he had the band cheer Ozzy before they went back out, and then he had the audience cheer Ozzy, Ozzy. He said a few words. So I thought that was cool. And I also get to say my honorary Alice mention every episode. So it's become a thing. So, but I thought that was really cool. I mean, these guys, Alice and Gene Simmons, I think it hits them hard too because how close these guys were, I have no idea. And Henry Rollins talked about them too, by the way. But they're part of this fraternity. They're part of this history. And the thing about metal and hard rock fans is they're like hard rock historians. Even the young kids, they don't just stop at whatever the current band is. They go research older bands. That's why obscure bands get a second chance in this genre, you know.
Mm.
So I think it, you know, and Ozzy with Black Sabbath is an architect of this music we love. They're the foundation. They're the building. I mean, and I said this on our show. Right now everyone fights about politics. At the end of the day, 10 years from now, nobody's going to give a shit. But what they will give a shit about is the music, just like they did in the '60s. People don't talk about the civil rights issues. I mean, they do because they're important, but when they think back on what was happening, what hits the hardest is the music. That's what lasts. That's why we listen to Beatles and the Rolling Stones. But none of us are dialing back LBJ and JFK speeches to listen to over and over. It's not disrespect for those men, but that stuff doesn't last like music does.
Hey, I just want to jump in. My time is a little limited here, but I just want to. I got to meet Ozzy in 2010 when he did his book signing.
Same
Oh
here.
wow.
Did you go to
And
the New York one?
no, I went to Bookends in New Jersey,
Okay, cool.
and I still actually have the receipt for it and everything. And there's a signature there. I am Ozzy.
Yep.
You know, as with most signings. I mean, there was a long line of a lot of people were there to meet him, and it was pretty rushed through. But I got to at least spend like 10 seconds with him. I wish I would could have got a post picture, but they weren't doing post pictures. But
No.
I got to snap a picture of him signing my book as I walked up, and it's funny. Like I just kind of just said real quick, I'm like, your music got me through a lot of my tough times and just made me happy and things like that. And as I'm saying that, he's like, it's just a big stretch and shit like that, and I start laughing. And I'm like, yeah, man, just take a break, take a stretch, It's like, man, my fucking hand is tired, from signing, in typical Ozzy fashion. So I thought that was pretty funny. First time I saw Ozzy was actually on the No More Tears tour. I had, and when I was in high school, I had friends that went to the Ultimate Sin concert, and I fucking wish I would have went to that. I had a chance to, and I didn't. I could have seen Metallica with Cliff and everything, but and then I missed. And then I missed again. I missed No Rest for the Wicked. They came by, and I didn't see that, but I finally saw him on No More Tears tour at the Garden. But he played the small room, played the Paramount Theater. He didn't play the big room at the Garden, which was cool. So, and Prong opened up for them for him. I remember that, and what a show! And to see him in like a more intimate kind of place was cool because I think that's like a 5,000 seater. I think
Yeah.
so.
Yep.
Yeah, it was called the Paramount Theater back then. And for people who really know, I mean, the classic name for it was the Felt Forum. That was it sat above the big room at the Garden. So,
Mm.
um,
I didn't know I had two names. I knew the Paramount.
yeah, it was called the Paramount Theater at that time. I think now it's just called the theater at MSG or
Yeah,
something
something
like
like
that.
that. Yeah.
So that was the first time I saw him, and pretty much, man, I've seen. As far as Sabbath was '99 when I saw the reunion. I never saw Sabbath before that. I kind of wish I would have seen like I had a chance to see the Dehumanizer tour, and I didn't go to that. Um, but it was '99 with Pantera and Deftones at the Meadowlands. That
I
was
was at that one. That
yeah,
was
that
my
was
first ever concert.
incredible show, man. That's a great first
Changed
one
my
to go to.
life.
Yeah. And Sabbath just fucking blew me away, dude. To have see all four of them, original guys, and I was like, holy shit. And then I seen them countless times after that. Ozzy solo. I seen Ozzy solo with like Gus G. I seen him with Joe Holmes, obviously Zach. So I've seen a bunch of Ozzy a bunch of times, Sabbath a few times. So and I only went to Ozfest '98. That was the only Ozfest I ever attended. That was the only one I ever went to. So I wish I would have went to more of them, but yeah, that's the first time I saw Ozzy, and then the last time was the Sabbath, the end one, I think 2016. I had tickets to see him in 2018 at the PNC Arts Center in New Jersey, Ozzy solo. But I had lawn seats and it was raining that day, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go fucking sit on the lawn in the rain, and I fucking didn't go. I kind of wish I did now because that was like that's the last tour he did solo. That was it.
Yeah.
You know? But I
And
saw Sabbath, and that last Sabbath tour, he still sounded, they still sounded great. So I thought that was a good way for me to kind of my last time seeing him. So
mm, I never got to see
anyway, I'm
him.
gonna step off, guys. Man, I appreciate you guys.
All
Good to
right.
see you, Al.
Thanks
All
for
right,
coming
guys.
on, and we'll
Next
have you
week
back
with
on
Van
soon.
Halen.
So
I think 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks.
Wayne?
Oh, 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you got the Halloween show next week,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, Halloween next week, everybody.
All right. Well, you guys have a great night. Long
Thanks for
live
joining us,
Ozzy.
Al. Tell Andy we said hello.
Well,
Yes,
long live
definitely.
Ozzy, man. His music will live on. Take care.
All right,
Cheers.
brother. And,
Guys, you know it's fucked up for me if I'd rather listen to Blind Guardian than Black Sabbath or Ozzy any day. You know?
wait, what?
What?
I mean, like, I was trying not to think about Ozzy all day, so I was
Oh.
just playing Nightfall in Middle Earth from Blind Guardian just to help me get my mind off it.
Oh.
Because that album makes me happy.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's good. I like that album, and I don't
That
even
is a good album.
I don't really like power metal that much. I have a bunch of Iced Earth albums. I keep them, but I feel like getting rid of them because I hate what he
Yeah,
did.
yeah. We know.
Oh,
we
stop
know.
it.
Let's not get political.
Throw a pair.
Well, I'm not.
Um,
But they're good musically. They're good. So Anyway, Lou, what
Hold on.
else were you?
Catman's in the chat, by the way. So hello, Catman. And Music Maniac says it's hitting harder and bigger worldwide than Eddie Van Halen's death, but both are huge. But Ozzy is like the god of gods.
Yeah, I'll say that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll talk about it during Van Halen, but did Van Halen make it big internationally? I know they toured all over the world, but
For the
like,
first album, they toured UK.
mhm.
For Diver Down, they toured well, no, that's right. They
Actually,
toured UK
let's
and
save it for the
Japan.
Van Halen. Let's save it for the Van Halen show. I want to hear your answer, but
The
yeah,
quick answer is no.
okay. But but British magazines, because I collect them, they talk about Van Halen a lot, so it's interesting. Anyway, we'll talk about it during the Van Halen show. It'll be interesting, but um, I don't know that. Yeah, I think this hit me harder than Eddie Van Halen. It's funny because Stan mentioned I never met Ozzy. I've seen him live a few times, but I never met the guy. You know,
Yeah, I
but
never met him, never seen him live, never saw Black
Yeah, neither
Sabbath
have
live,
I.
nothing.
I'm happy to say that I was at that book signing in Manhattan when
yeah,
Ozzy was signing his book, and I
And
knew that it was sort of like, give him the book, get it, let him sign it, pick your book up, move aside. I did get to say "God bless you, Ozzy," and he said, "Thank you, sir." So I was like, I got that.
You still got the book,
that's
right?
still cool, dude.
a little
I still got the
validation.
book.
Yeah, okay, good.
I still got the book, and I also got copies signed from my brothers. But I know my one brother still has his copy. I don't know if the other one who passed away. I don't know if they left it at the old apartment or what. I don't know, but I'm hoping that they can randomly find it out of the blue one day. I'm like, all right, well, if you can't find it when I die, I'll give you the book. It's fine.
No, they probably have it. His family, your family
Sure, it's
probably has it somewhere. Yeah.
Nah, probably. I don't know. They moved from one apartment in the Bronx to another, so now they live in Scarsdale, which is an hour away
Boy, yeah.
the only
on
thing
a good day.
the only thing cool I got from Ozzy was when the Ordinary Man album came out. There was a contest, and I think there was like a little card in there, and I had a number that you had to type into the website or whatever, and my number actually won a free poster, and it was autographed. So that's the only thing I have, memorabilia wise like that. Well, otherwise I have all the CDs and stuff and records. But
So here's
that was cool.
well then I got a
I always wanted to have an Ozzy autograph at least, so I'm glad it's on a poster. But it's rolled up. I don't have
that
it. I
is
don't have it hanging up anywhere.
well, you need to hang it up,
I
Wayne,
know I
when you get
do.
a
I just don't
chance.
have any room.
Yeah, well, I see that.
Mm.
Anyway, um,
So
I'll answer my question, but I'm going to ask you this, all three of you gentlemen. Do you prefer him as a solo artist or with Black Sabbath? To me, that's so different. I can see if you're like, well, they're so different with,
I
because
mean,
sonically it's very different.
it's like, do I prefer Dio with Sabbath or his solo? I mean, it's the same thing. You just can't choose. It's like they're both. These guys have reached like the peak of creativity with with both of their bands. Like you just can't pick. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like I don't know. I
You
like.
can't discount what he did with Rainbow.
Of course not. Like
No, no, no,
but
no. But he's just talking about Black Sabbath,
yeah.
Luke.
No,
I'm just
Yeah.
so it's just I don't know. It's like saying, do I like the Ozzy Sabbath or do I like the Dio Sabbath? I mean, it's like they're just so equal that y- if you have a preference for one, it's because you haven't heard enough of the other.
Mm.
Well, I love
As
all
far as
eras.
I'm concerned, like
I
the
love
like
all eras of Black Sabbath, but I can't deny the impact. When I was younger, because the first Black Sabbath I heard was with Ronnie James Dio, because that's what was still current when I was
yeah.
12. I'm a lot older than you guys, which I hate reminding myself that I
Okay,
am.
A
Grandpa.
But
lot
anyway,
older.
yeah. Notice
I'm a
we're
lot
not the
older.
ageist ones here, Manny. It's always you bringing it up.
Well,
Okay,
it's because
we're not
I
workday over
look,
here prohibiting you from moving on to your next chosen career path.
well, it's because I look so much younger than you guys that I'm just shocked.
All right,
Anyway,
now I
Yeah.
draw the line.
Dream on.
No, but I want to
Uh,
answer. I want to answer many's question though. Like
yeah, please.
the Sabbath Ozzy stuff and the Ozzy solo stuff is just they're equally as good. Like I enjoy both of them. There's a lot to enjoy from both. The thing about Ozzy though is that he did have the fortune of working with multiple talented guitar players,
Mm.
Yeah,
and they each brought their own set of memorable songs.
Not even just guitar players, just musicians in general. Because
that's
That
true.
is
he
true,
had
man.
the drum Randy Castillo and what's his name with this with
Tommy Aldridge, Lee
Metallica.
Kerslake.
Yeah, just you could just name everybody that he's worked with, and it's
Rudy
Well, I mean,
Sarzo.
Lou named two drummers that are amazing. That don't get any credit, by the way, Lou. As drummers. You're right.
yeah.
You're right.
I think Aldrich gets a lot of credit because of his work with Black Oak, Arkansas, and Ozzy and Ted Nugent, and obviously Whitesnake. I mean, he
Yeah,
joined them
he's still
at
out there
their
playing.
most successful. What's that?
He's still playing.
And he's still playing
He's
at
got to be
75,
70.
Yeah,
and he's
Oh, he's
he's playing
75.
with more energy than some of these guys that
I was
are like 25.
he did a Drumeo
Yeah.
video, and I'm like, holy crap, man!
He's still got his chops. He's
Yeah,
still he's
still got the
still got
hair.
his power.
Yeah.
If I can answer your question, Manny, listen, when it comes to Sabbath, there's only one person I care about if they're in the band or not, and that's Tony Iommi. You could put him with Ozzy, Dio, Tony Martin, Ian Gillan. Hell, you could put him with Pat Boone or Minnie Rippington for all I care about. That's right, the chick that sang "Loving You," who is apparently Maya Rudolph's mother. I just found this out myself recently. Um,
Really? I did not know that.
well, now you learn something new every day on Red Side Review.
Yes, you do.
Anyway,
Anyway.
And subscribe.
it's like and comment. And I mean, to me, it's like Iommi, you could put him with anyone and it still sounded great. Ozzy, you know, with or without Sabbath, I love him. His relevancy to me is past Sabbath, obviously, because of his successful solo career. Same thing with Dio. He had a career before Sabbath and he had one after. I have no problem making playlists of the best of bands with Dio's voice from Rainbow to his solo project to Sabbath. And I'll also make a full Sabbath playlist featuring all lineups. I don't really just subscribe to that, gatekeeper mentality of like, well, who do you like better? There's preference, um, but I wouldn't say preference is a matter of who do you like better. It's, what's your favorite album? If there was one album in the entire discography that you can't live without, what is it? And I will flat out say it's Sabotage.
Mm.
Second would be Heaven and Hell.
That's my
And
first. Yeah.
and both of them had an impact on me. One not more so than the other, both of them equally. But for me, I guess it's easier to say that I discovered Diary first before all of it. So that album had the biggest impact for me. And that's why I say that's my second favorite album of all time under Van Halen's Fair Warning. So I guess if I had to choose preference, Diary trumps everything.
Well, what I find interesting about Ozzy solo career, it is so different from what he did with Black Sabbath. Not only that, there are other artists like David Lee Roth's solo career, successful wise, didn't last that long. He had a couple of one hit EP and two big selling solo albums, and then the third one, Little Ain't Enough, sold okay. But other artists, Paul Rogers, Mick Jagger, he's Ozzy in a small category that had a successful solo career and in some ways was more successful than the original band he was in. The only people I can think of that may fall into that is Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel. And actually, I didn't think of that. That was somebody else last night thought about that when I was on the other show. And not only that, but it's so different sounding in Black Sabbath. It was more melodic. It was a smart move. I don't know if it was calculated or not, but it was a very smart move not to try to be Black Sabbath 2 or Black Sabbath Junior. You got to admire Ozzy for that, for
Well,
sure.
I think you have to give credit to Randy because Randy definitely brought that LA style into Ozzy's repertoire. You know,
And the
obviously
songwriting.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Blizzard of Oz sounds nothing like the first 8 Sabbath albums. A big part of that had to do with was that Randy was not influenced by Black Sabbath in any way. He was more influenced by Alice Cooper. That's for you, Manny. And
Classical music.
you know, and believe it or not, Ozzy did mention that after a while he got tired. Like he gave credit to Tony Iommi as like the riff lord, definitely. But he said he got tired of feeling like Sabbath was like, rehashing like the same riffs and whatever. I'm like, I really can't put the latter day era Ozzy Sabbath with the beginning. I mean, it does sound that much different, but he was getting tired of like the basic blues metal. He wanted to stretch further out, which is why he quit them in the first place. Prior to Never Say Die. So it's kind of interesting. I think Blizzard was the eventual evolution for Ozzy and where he was going to go musically. And it's one of the rare occasions where heavy metal mitosis works for the best.
Well, guys, I've got to go. I got to go get my kid. So remember this, Lou. My kid's 24 and she still needs a ride. It doesn't end. So remember this lesson from me, Lou.
Thanks for the warning.
You're welcome, guys. All
All
right,
right.
man.
Later,
Thank you for
man.
having me on and raise a toast to his Ozziness before the evening. See you guys.
Definitely.
Later.
But for me, I didn't get into Ozzy until I heard No More Tears. I mean, I heard Crazy Train on the radio and all that stuff and Bark at the Moon. But I don't know, something about No More Tears really got me into it. And also, too, that's really when I was starting to listen to music. And that just blew me away. And then that led me on to listening to the earlier Ozzy stuff. And then Black Sabbath, I got into much later on. I don't know why. I just didn't really like listen to them when I got into Ozzy. It's kind of weird, but I did know the Dio stuff more than I did know the Ozzy stuff. So Black Sabbath for me just didn't. I didn't really like get Black Sabbath until probably maybe the last 20, 25 years. So I'm more familiar with the Ozzy stuff. Howdy, folks. Just passing through. Cheers, all. Mark of the Dragon. Welcome. And I guess goodbye because you're just passing through.
That's my
You
buddy
know,
Mark Aeda. What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, he shows up
I,
every
I
once.
I think the first time I actually heard Ozzy sing was either when I first heard the album Technical Ecstasy.
Hmm.
I had that on cassette. I bought it, and or I stole it. I don't know, but or or when I saw the video for No More Tears, I actually rented the video. He came out with a VHS. I think it was called No More Tears, and it was like some kind of documentary, mini documentary.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. I think,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's what it
it
is.
had like a blue cover or something like that. I forgot what it was, but
Yeah, and he's
anyway,
wearing like a plaid suit on it with
yeah,
the John Lennon sunglasses.
yeah. And so so that was like my introduction to Ozzy. Just like seeing that video, I was like, whoa, this just sounds pretty cool. So it's just I actually like I think I like Sabbath more. So it's kind of like interesting when he says that he didn't click with Sabbath, but I don't know. There's something about those doomy riffs drew me in.
Yeah. It took me a while to get
It's
into
just
that kind of style of music, the
yeah.
doomy type stuff. I was always into the flashy guitar playing and the drums and stuff like that. So that's why the Ozzy stuff turned me on.
I mean, I
But
like both of them. Like like I said, there's there's a lot of music to enjoy out there. A lot of variety there. So
yeah,
yeah,
and Ozzy has plenty
but
of it, so you
yeah,
can listen to that
definitely. Yeah,
for.
did you guys like the last album that he did? Was it patient number 9 or something
Yeah, it
like
was
that?
Yeah,
patient
I
number
think I
nine. Yeah.
remember saying it was better than Ordinary Man.
Yeah, it definitely was. I actually have two different versions. I forgot I bought it, and I ended up buying it again on Revolver on the Revolver magazine website. And it was cool. It had like a slip case, but there was an extra booklet, I think, in there, all these extra pictures and stuff. So it was pretty cool. I got two different versions of it. But yeah, that album's pretty good. It's not terrible. It's
Yeah.
not one of my favorite Ozzy albums, but it's decent, you know.
What do you
Ordinary
think?
Man wasn't too bad either. It's just I don't know. It's just I don't know. It just needed better songs. Actually, the only song, the one song that I really, really liked, and I'm surprised I even liked this, the one he did with Post Malone. I thought that was kind of interesting. It was cool to
It
hear him
was
do something
different,
like that.
right?
Yeah.
It was just unique, more
Yeah.
Ozzy
I
kind
thought
of
it worked.
venturing out and just trying something new, which is really cool.
It's like when Youngblood did Changes, it's like, holy crap. I didn't think that uh that interpretation would go over as well as it did, but it went over with me. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool hearing Ozzy with Post Malone,
Yeah.
so that was pretty cool.
I thought
Um,
Youngblood was a rapper, bro. I don't know. I was like,
was Youngblood a rapper? I mean, I knew he was a pop
I thought
singer.
that's what it was. I mean, especially when it's spelled that way. Like, I'm like, who the fuck is Youngblood? Is this some hip
Yeah,
hop
but
guy?
he's like this Cockney British dude who apparently I think was a Disney star at one point or something. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Even though I mentioned Diary is like, one of my be all end alls. Um, Definitely when I discovered Sabbath and like I heard that tone
Mm.
and I heard those songs, you know, by the time I was 9, I think the only Sabbath albums that I didn't hear were up until that point, the first one and Sabotage. So, I was fed a diet of Paranoid, Master of Reality, Volume 4, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, Technical Ecstasy, and Never Say Die. You know, to me, hands down, the greatest Sabbath song of all time, Into the Void. You know, um, Definitely when I heard that riff, total game changer for me, and definitely the environment that I was brought up in Astoria, where like I was always around my father's auto mechanic shop and seeing like a lot of the factories that were there. I was like, Astoria, the New York equivalent of Birmingham, you know,
Hmm.
because it's factories everywhere, and it's so crazy how like one section is Steinway Street, then it's a bunch of houses, then behind the houses, the firehouse, the police department, and a shit ton of like body shops and you know uh buy your livestock meat here for your halal choices, and strip clubs.
Yeah.
So
You remember those, I bet.
they're still there.
Oh, all right.
It's like, how can I forget? They're still there.
But what a shitty week this has been so far, and shame. I'm trying to stall a little bit for Greg because Greg's been having some problems, and I
How
don't want to
how
go into
shitty
his.
has this week been? I'll tell you how shitty it's been. I actually praised the Van Hagar album.
You
Really?
fucking better. You fucking better.
This is the Japanese OBI edition of 5150, and Greg was right.
Where'd you get it?
The master sounds so much better on this than what they released in the United States. You can actually hear Eddie's guitar better. You could hear Alex's drums better. You could hear Mike's bass better. Like, such a world of difference.
It's
How does it
not available
compare?
digitally.
I'm sorry.
It's not available digitally.
No, the only that's digitally on iTunes or Amazon is the American Press. I had to get this on, excuse me, on eBay.
How does that compare to the new remaster? It's still the same. Like, do we still have the same shitty U.S.
So I was
remaster?
doing a compare and contrast in the car. So I had it on my I had it playing on iTunes. 5150 with the title track itself was the one that I used to make the comparison. So
Mm.
like I'm hearing 5150 on iTunes, it's like it's like that. Then I put it on the CD, it's like did it. I'm like, whoa, what a difference.
Yeah, yeah. Because that mix was always like very low.
I will happily burn you a copy of this. So
Well, you know me.
I don't think you're gonna go on eBay just to buy this.
You don't know me then, I guess. Guess what I just did?
You just bought something on eBay, didn't you?
Lou, let me ask you something. Do you see that fucking huge collection behind Wayne? What makes you think this guy wouldn't actually drop a few bucks for on another
Because his
51
wife would
50?
kill him.
You think I care?
Mm.
You've seen this shit that I bought when I was on vacation that my wife don't know about.
It's just one more CD. It's just one more CD. She's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
But apparently, it's worth listening to, right? I mean, if it's that big of a difference,
I think it's worth listening to.
yeah.
The
Because I like
difference
the
in Eddie's
original. I mean,
guitar tone, it just makes it that much different.
so I mean, because you mentioned that it's kind of sounding like it sounded pretty raw, like the early Roth albums. I
Yeah,
mean,
I did make that statement in our chat. I said production wise, the Japanese pressing of 5150 sounds audio wise as good as the production on the first six with Ted Templeman. Yeah.
all right, we're gonna have to talk about that when the time comes.
We're doing an
But
Ozzy show here when we're talking about Eddie Van Halen, but did
I
Eddie
know.
Van
Well, we're
Halen
stalling
ever?
because we're waiting for Greg.
No, I know, I get
Mm.
it. But did Eddie ever maybe try out to be with Ozzy at all? Does
No,
anybody know?
no. Although, during the Never Say Die tour, Van Halen and the Ramones on different legs were the opening act for Sabbath. Supposedly, word is that Van Halen blew Sabbath away.
Mm.
I don't know if that's true or not. Actually, I think the man who just joined us now, Greg, would probably be better answer that question than I can.
What's
Hello,
the
Greg. How you
question?
feeling?
The
Hello.
madman is back, as Ozzy would say.
The question was, did Van Halen legitimately blow Black Sabbath away when they opened up for them on the Never Say Die tour, or is that a lie?
No, it's true. But you have to remember, where Sabbath was at the time is the end of their first 10 years as a band. The God, this is hard to do, not being able to see straight, whatever. They were tired. The drugs weren't quite working for them anymore. Van Halen was very young, very hungry. It was their first world tour.
Mm.
Plus, the members of Sabbath weren't getting along too well. I mean, you didn't have anybody walking out on shows necessarily. And if you go back and watch like the Never Say Die DVD, it's a good concert, but they sound a little tired comparatively to how Van Halen sounded at the time.
By the way, hello Tony from Mississippi. He's in the chat. Thanks for watching. Thanks everybody for watching. Got up to like 14 people before. But Greg, everybody's went around and said how they felt about yesterday. So how was your yesterday after hearing the news of Ozzy passing?
Well, the weird thing is before I heard that he had actually died, I had this sudden urge to listen to Symptom of the Universe.
Mm.
So I went out, took a smoke break and did, and then an hour later I found out he passed. But it hit me harder than I thought, man. The biggest thing about Ozzy is, and like I had said before, I love the guy, but I had given him some crap because, well, Sharon, but
Yeah, but that's inevitable.
he made some mistakes and all that, but he really, truly was universal. I mean, I hate to use the example now because the whole baby oil trial, but I mean, come on. Diddy was even on the Osbournes back in the day, paying respect to him, along with a couple other rappers whose names escape me because rappers are pretty disposable, especially in the early 2000s.
Nothing's changed for 2025.
Yeah, but no, man, he really was and still is. I mean, like I said in my Facebook post, he's immortal. He'll live on through the music. I mean, Sabbath during that era and then him himself is pretty universal, and just he was larger than life, and he was into all types of media, and a big part of my childhood and growing up and getting into music, man. I mean, I loved Ozzy. Went to Ozfest every year, the Sabbath reunion shows. Um, so yeah, it made me really sad. You know, it's kind of like a punch in the gut. However, I will say though, on one hand, it did make me happy a little bit because he is at peace, because Parkinson's really started to hit him hard, and that surgery, man, and he did not deserve to live in pain like that. So ultimately, while I'm sad he's gone and I'll never be able to see him live again, you know, we have this amazing body of work. He was a great guy, and he was able to do his last show at the end exactly like he wanted to and make the fans and himself happy. And now he doesn't have to feel any of that pain anymore. So it's like, it sucks, but it's a blessing, but he will live on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm very proud to announce um Friday night at a club in Smithtown, Long Island called Nabertandy's. I was asked to play guitar for Mistress of Evil, which is an all-female Sabbath, Ozzy, and Dio tribute. My friends Diane Perry on vocals and my friend Lisa Saladino on bass and Bella Perone on drums. Their guitar player, Lisa, unfortunately fell ill with COVID.
Oh,
So I was the first person that they asked, can you fill in and play a short set with us, opening up for Van Halen tribute Completely Unchained? And when they gave me the set list, I was like, these are the songs I used to play in my bedroom as a kid to learn guitar. And my answer was, I was born fucking ready for this show. So I'll be able to pay my tribute to Ozzy and Randy, because we are playing Mr. Crowley in there too on Friday night. So I'm I'm chuffed about it, you know. I feel good, you know,
Very
like
cool.
Maybe they'll ask you to join the
no, I
full
don't want to
time
replace
and all
Lisa. She's a
female tribute man.
Are you gonna have to wear high heels or a wig or anything? Or
no, just go in there doing what I got to do, you know.
he could
So
dress like Ozzy did for that Lady Marmalade joke video. You guys remember that?
I don't think
no,
so.
Oh man,
but
that's
but they're my friends, and like I'm happy to help them out. And it's funny because like I remember telling some of my friends, I was like, I think I'm gonna be shitting bricks when I'm on stage, and they're like, no, 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 go do it. So, thanks to all my guys out there who, all my Guitar Hero brethren, all my guitar brethren who told me to go do it. So I'm gonna do it.
Very cool. Good luck.
you could
Edward,
moon the audience like Ozzy used to do if it makes you more comfortable.
I don't even like looking at my ass. Why would I want to dare anyone else to see it?
Edwards in the chat, he says, Ultimate Sin, first Ozzy album I bought. Thought it was perfect. Bought every Ozzy and Sabbath album after. Never will be another Ozzy, and it will not be. BST also says, saw him only once live back in 2008. I was 14 and had started listening to him at 12. That concert changed my life, and I became a hardcore Ozzy fan after that. I cried when I found out he passed away. Yeah, a lot of people did. Even I had to fight back some tears yesterday. It sucked. I don't usually cry over anything, but I did almost on that one. So it sucked yesterday.
You know what? You know what keeps replaying in my brain?
Hmm.
The intro to Diary of a Madman.
That was one of the
Mm.
hardest pieces I ever had to learn how to play.
Dude, it's
No joke.
amazing.
Hmm.
What an amazing piece! What an amazing intro, bro. Fucking Randy.
I love that song, but my favorite on that album and my favorite Ozzy solo song will always be SATO. That's the best song on that record.
That's a great one. For me, it'd be Believer.
That's a good one too. I don't dislike anything on Diary, which we discussed before when we did his discography.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard this story. Catman says, sorry, guys. I decided not to contribute to Ozzy once I heard he allegedly shot some cats in a drug craze, but I like the solo stuff from the get go. I never heard about that.
Interestingly enough, that Catman's mentioned that, I looked into that a little bit because I believe he asked us in the chat when we did the not Behold the Beginning. Fuck, that's a Diamond Head album. Back to the Beginning show. Because I had heard the same rumor, but I had heard it later on. Apparently, that is something during the early days of the internet that got attributed to Ozzy, but is actually something Dennis Hopper did during his first marriage
Hmm.
I can believe that.
that caused his first divorce. And yes, he really did
Mommy.
go. Well, it was a little before that.
Well, we probably know what influenced that.
How it got attributed to Ozzy, I don't know, but his breakup with Thelma was definitely a lot of drug and alcohol problems, but it was more about him neglecting his kids, which, by the way, even though Lewis and Jessica have had their say about him, he fully admits and has apologized to them. He got married too young and shouldn't have done that.
Hmm.
Drugs
Well, you
and
definitely have a better
alcohol had
relationship with
Ozzy
him now.
problems.
Hmm?
I said drugs and alcohol had Ozzy problems, not the other way around.
They, they, they definitely had they definitely had a better relationship with him in like the last couple of decades. So I'm happy he had that reconciliation with them.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah. And actually, by the way, for those of you that did not know, Lewis is the kid on the Diary of the Madman cover.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yep.
Hmm. And
Some corner snickering.
yeah.
And I think
Speaking
Jessica
of,
actually, she's an actress, and I think she was actually on a season of Better Call Saul.
Yeah, it's just
I think so, and I think she actually did something with her half sister Amy too, if I remember right. Because Amy is also, I think she's acted in a few things. I can't remember now. I believe I had heard that though. I might be wrong. No good amount about Ozzy, not so much as kids.
Catman says, okay, fuck Hopper, Ozzy rules. Thanks for looking into that, Greg.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not a
because
problem, man. Because I had heard that and I was like, I heard a lot about when he got divorced and I had heard this story, but I'm pretty sure it was an Ozzy that shot 17 cats.
I think we
the
would have
thing is,
heard
I
more
read
of
the
them.
same thing on some random page on the internet, but there was no verifiable source.
Mm.
No, it
And
was
and look, the truth is, unless you hear it on Rat Style Review, because we're truth tellers, you
that's
can't
true.
believe everything you see and hear and read on the internet.
No.
Yeah, no, Hopper really did it. And at the time, apparently, he actually owned the town. He lived in the small town and was mayor of it. So he never got convicted because he owned the fucking town.
Wow.
Wait a minute. Now it sounds like a bad movie. What do you mean he owned the town?
He did. Eastwood has done that in the past too, in Carmel by the Sea in California. Private townships.
Mm.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Not
hear
that
private
Eastwood
townships.
shot 17 cats. They just
No,
both happen to own a town and be mayor of it.
Yeah.
too funny.
Interesting. All right. Well,
Uh,
I'm glad you were able to join,
yeah.
Greg.
You know what though? That really makes you think different about Dennis Hopper because a magazine only holds 15. That means he had to stop and fucking reload.
Must have been a cat problem on that in that neighborhood.
Oh, certainly. Oh,
Maybe
but
that's what got him the role in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
I am the light or the way, whatever he fucking said. I forget his speech. Love that movie though.
Dog will hunt. Anyway, sorry, couldn't help it.
Yeah, I agree with Catman. Fuck,
Leatherface, you bitch! You ruined my Sonny Bono wig.
Love that movie.
I agree with Catman. Fuck Hopper. Ozzy rules. He always loved the fans too. You can always tell everything was for the fans. I even read something before. He's like, why? Even though he wasn't in the best shape, but how could he stop when everybody still wants to hear his music and hear his new albums and see him and everything? So he just continued for us, for his audience, and that's you just love him for that. It's just amazing that just he cared about his audience so much that not a lot of musicians do, but you can tell that he did because everything he always said was if for everybody. So just sucks.
He
Yeah.
really did, and he really control. I mean, we all know what happened in 2002 with the first two albums and what Sharon did through Divine Management. But
Right.
where I was going with that is, he had a pretty good amount of control over his releases and cared about what the fans got. And even a couple of them live albums that later became official, he primarily did that so the fans weren't paying for low quality, crappy bootlegs. You know?
Yeah, it's just a shame that you can't stream Just Say Ozzy or Speak of the Devil, but they still have physical copies for sale.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's up with that. The whole Susan rumor got debunked a while ago, so
Yeah.
I
It's funny. It's funny. I don't look at Osmosis nowadays in as well of a light as I did when I first heard it. Um, I was 15 when it came out, but I remember when I got my hands on that copy, like that album could have come out at a better time in my life. Because I had just discovered Fear Factory, I had just discovered Typo Negative like a year prior, and it was just so great to hear Ozzy come out with new music again that I could put up with that, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
And like I said, today that album doesn't have as much place for me anymore, but at the time, it definitely did. And what a great thing, him being rejected by Lollapalooza for being both too metal and too old, because we ended up getting Ozfest and we had a bunch of great Ozfests, especially from like 2002 onwards, when they started bringing on bands like Meshuggah and Shadows Fall and Unearthed and Lamb of God, and and the reunited Judas Priest, and they had Iron Maiden, and you know
Mhm.
just knowing what those Ozfests ended up becoming, and it completely blew Lollapalooza out of the water. In fact, Lollapalooza, it died out. And the funny thing is, Sabbath went out on top with the four original members, in their hometown, giving back to their hometown with the proceeds going to different charities. And Jane's Addiction screwed it all up recently with Perry Farrell punching out Dave Navarro. It's kind of serendipitous, don't you think?
Black Sabbath will be in history books. Jane's Addiction will be lucky to be a footnote.
I like Jane's, but I got to agree with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Remember Ozzy.
And also, everyone will always remember Ozfest, and it will be written about because of the metal event it was and hard rock and all that. Lollapalooza, once your Gen Xers start to go away, nobody's going to care because most of those bands were fickle. Ozzy and Sabbath were authentic.
That's the crazy thing, though. And Wayne, I know you're trying to wrap it up. I'm sorry. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
sorry, Wayne.
It's okay.
take too long. Like you
Stan
kind of
ran
mentioned
out
it
of water,
before.
so I didn't want him to get the
Somebody
gun.
mentioned it before about like bands and fans, and how after a while it's like they become faddish, and then they kind of go away, never to be spoken out of again, or you begin to think, whatever happened to this band?
Mm.
Metal, for all intents and purposes, goes through waves where it's accepted by the mainstream, but the bands
Mhm.
don't go away, and the fans don't go away. So, for all the people that say, metal is a niche thing, fuck you, because we're happy with our niche. We stick with our bands, and the bands stick with the fans, and we've interviewed so many awesome artists on the show. Matt Barlow of Iced Earth and Ashes of Aries, I got to interview Gus G. We've interviewed members of Halloween. We've interviewed Brian Tatler, formerly of Diamond Head, currently of Saxon. Good for you, but I miss Diamond Head, Brian. You know, and
So do
the
I.
bands have been great, unless your last name is Drover. And that's why we continue to do Rat Salary. Yeah, I said it, Wayne, in your defense. And that's why we continue to do Rat Salary Review. Because this is a show by fans for fans. And we love Ozzy, and we'll miss him.
That's
And I
right.
don't ever want to hear Mama, I'm coming home again, because I'm going to bawl like a bitch.
That song, and somebody else posted the Leader Ford and Ozzy song, "Close My Eyes Forever." I can never listen to that song. Never.
I'll be honest. I love Ozzy. I like Lita's stuff. I hate that tune. I always
I
have.
never really care for it either, but
It
it's just a
it
very depressing song.
it doesn't. It doesn't sound good outside of being depressing. But it's very atonal. I never liked
Mm.
that one. Cool idea, but I wish they would have done a different song. But for me, Mama, I'm Coming Home isn't the one that hits me. It's Goodbye to Romance.
Uh, that's the tough. I can't hear So Tired ever again. But I couldn't
Wow.
hear it when I first heard it either, because
I hate that song, but
me
it's a
too.
different
Let's not end
story.
the song on the show on the songs that we don't like.
But there's so many good
I
ones
know
that we do like.
there really is, and how you mentioned before, like some of the metal bands like kind of go away and disappear. Ozzy never went away. There was never a point where he like disappeared and he like made this big comeback. He was just always there, you
Mhm.
know. So that just shows the legacy that he just has, and
Always loved how honest he was too. Like, because well, I was Jack and Kelly's age when the Osbournes came on TV, so I used to watch it every week and them little interviews he'd be doing on there because Down to Earth was coming out and all that,
mm,
and I forget who he was talking to on the radio, but they asked him something about Sabbath and the whole dark and evil thing, and he's talking about how he's a member of Church of England and all that, which was true, but he's like, "Fuck, man, we were the last hippie band. You ever read the fucking lyrics? The music was heavy, but we were all about peace."
They were. By the way, I thought you said you were Jack and Kelly. I was like, whoa. I think
No,
Sid Wilson's doing that now. Anyways, hi-oh.
no,
yeah.
Judge. I've taken a lot of LSD, but not that much.
Yeah, AC mentions too. "See You on the Other Side." That's another song that hits kind of hard too. So yes, definitely.
Mhm.
But some other
Yeah,
people
good.
came in. What? Go ahead.
I was gonna say goodbye to romance is just more, I although I did like No More Tears a lot, but definitely listen to Blizzard more, and that's a really emotional song. So
Mm. But some new people I haven't seen in the chat. Diane Ray, she says rock and roll and two black hearts and the horns up there. So thanks for tuning in. Michael Brown, I will always love Ozzy. He always breaks down when he hears that song. I think he's talking about Mama, I'm Coming Home. And AC's in the chat here as well. And yeah, thanks for everybody for tuning in. Had about like 14 people watching live, and hopefully you have some more watching later on after the show's over. But thanks for everybody for tuning in. And unfortunately, this had to be a show about Ozzy, not being here any longer, but he will always be here because his music will last forever. Any more words you guys got to say, Stan? No?
Thank you, Ozzy.
Thank
yes,
you,
thank you,
Ozzy. Yeah,
Ozzy,
that's about it.
Thank you, Ozzy.
and
And
we
thank you
love you.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah. And thanks for waiting for me. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. I know you had to get on this one, so.
And normally I end the show with the devil horns, but this time I'm going to do the Ozzy Volume 4 pose.
All right. Stay like that too. Don't move. Thanks for everybody for watching. And make sure you hit the subscribe button. Go to severedangel.com. Go order our latest album. We got another album coming out very soon. There it is. You put down the peace signs. Now you just ruined the whole entire thing. Put the peace signs back up now. Okay, good. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Rest in peace, Ozzy. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Rock and roll.
Later.